Well, Math 141, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to solve a problem that was emailed to me. We do have a thermometer that is reading 65 degrees in a room temperature or a kitchen temperature that is placed inside of a preheated oven. And our job is to find out what's the temperature of the oven. The information that is given to us that the thermometer after half a minute reads 225 degrees and after 1 minute reads 313 degrees. So what do you have here? We do have an oven here that is preheated. What does that mean to you and I? It means that the heat is constant. We're going to assume that this oven is working perfectly. And if it's preheated, it's reached the temperature that it was intended for, and it is staying in that temperature. So outside of the oven, where thermometer is in the beginning, is 65 degrees outside of oven. And once you place it inside, in 1/2 a minute, it is reading 225 degrees. And in 1 minute, it is reading 313 degrees. Well, let's find out how hot the oven is. Okay. The Newton's law of cooling tells us that T as a function of time equals temperature of surrounding plus the temperature difference. I'm going to put temperature difference e to the minus kt, where t is the time and k is a constant. So let me change color. I'm going to rewrite this slightly different. I'm going to rewrite this as temperature as a function of time equals temperature of oven, because remember that when we place the thermometer inside of the oven, now the inside of the oven is the surrounding. So temperature of oven plus time, temperature difference in temperature times e to the minus kt, and let's work with this. Of course, I know that the time, well, let me just do this, T temperature as a function of time equals T of oven plus 65 minus temperature of oven times e to the minus kt. But remember that when you put the thermometer inside, in that very second, the temperature difference starts working gradually. Okay. So let me go ahead and use the numbers that we were given. I can claim that 313 equals temperature of the oven plus 65 minus temperature of oven e to the minus k. And since that t was 1 when the thermometer is reading 313, I really don't have to write it, but just let's put it in there. And 225 equals temperature of oven plus 65 minus temperature of oven and e to the minus k. And in this time, the time is 1/2 or 0.5. Okay, I like 0.5 better. So if we subtract second equation from the first one, we get 88 equals temperature of oven minus temperature of oven is 0. So I get 65 minus T of oven times e to the minus k. 1 times k is just k, minus 65 minus temperature of oven. And I'm going to rewrite this e to the minus 0.5 k. Notice that I can factor this. So a better way of writing this is 88 equals 65 minus temperature of oven times e to the minus k minus e to the minus 0.5 k. And let's save this, and we'll use it just in a minute. Let me go ahead and next page. So do you remember that we have 225 equals temperature of oven times, actually, let me put a plus here, temperature of oven plus 65 minus temperature of oven e to the minus 0.5 k. Now remember that when at time 0, okay, the temperature of the thermometer is 65 equals, so T of oven, which is in this case doesn't really matter, plus 65 minus T of oven e to the negative 0.5 k. And since time at time 0, so this is 0, notice that e to the power of 0 is 1. 1 times 65 minus T of oven is 65 minus T of oven. So left-hand side indeed equals to right-hand side. But why am I doing this? I'm just using this to get a, another equation. I'm going to go ahead and subtract. I will get 160 equals 65 minus temperature of oven e to the minus 0.5 k minus 65 minus temperature of oven. Notice that this was just a 1, so I don't have to write that. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and factor this. So we have, I'm going to rewrite this 160 equals 65 minus temperature of oven. Then I'm going to have e to the minus 0.5 k minus 1. And I'm going to put star by this equation because I'm going to, I'm going to probably use this. Let me go ahead and, sure, well, I have this equation here. Let me put a line in here. Also remember that from previous page, I had 88 equals 65 minus temperature of oven e to the minus k minus e to the minus 0.5 k. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide these two equations. Let me go to the next page. Divide. So I'm going to get 88 divided by 160 equals 65 minus temperature of oven times e to the minus k minus e, and it doesn't matter which one you divide by the other. I just minus 0.5 k. That divided by 65 minus temperature of oven and e to the 0.5 k, oh, negative 0.5 k minus 1. And now I can go ahead and cancel this. So now we are going to be left with 88 over 160. 88 is divisible by 8. It gives me 11. 160 divided by 8, 2 and 0. And I'm left with, let's see, if I factor the top, if I factor numerator, I'm going to have e to the minus 0.5 k, then I have e to the another negative 0.5 k, and then I have a minus 1. Okay. Divided by e to the negative 0.5 k minus 1, and how nice this cancels this. So I'm left with 11 over 20 equals e to the negative 0.5 k. At this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take natural log of both sides. So I'm going to have natural log of 11 over 20 equals natural log of e to the negative 0.5 k. And so what I'm going to have is negative 0.5 k, because now, bring this down. Natural log of e is 1 equals natural log of 11 over 20. Okay, nice. So now we can go back and use the fact that, remember, we had 160 equals 65 minus T of oven e to the minus 0.5 k minus 1. We had this, okay? So I'm going to go, now that I have 0.5 k equals to this, I can substitute it. I can rewrite this as 160 equals 65 minus T of oven e to the power of natural log of 11 over 20, and I have a minus 1 in here. And of course, here, this quantity is going to be e to the natural log of 1 over 20, 11 over 20 is just 11 over 20. So let me go to the next page and write that as 160 equals 65 minus T of oven in 11 over 20 minus 1. So 160 equals 65 minus T of oven. That gives me minus 9 over 20. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 20 over 9. So that gives me negative 3200 over 9 equals 65 minus temperature of oven. Okay. And solve for temperature of oven. Temperature of oven approximately subtract 65 from both sides, and then multiply both sides by -1, you get 32 over 9 plus 65, and that approximately gives us 420 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope you enjoyed this example, and thanks.